What's up, y'all? Welcome to Friends with Businesses. We are back and better than ever. Before I get into where I've been, what the new thing is going to be like, I really just want to get some stuff off today because I've been thinking about something lately about how a lot of entrepreneurs are building. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Friends with Businesses. I know I've been on a long hiatus from this, but I'm back and I'm going to be consistent. I promise you that. Now, before I get into where I've been, I'll do that in another episode. I really need to come on here because I know there's some things that it's one thing that's very, very important that really just happened to one of my friends, and I want to talk about it to you all because I feel like it can help to save your business. But before I do that, please like, subscribe, let me know where you're listening from, all that good stuff. So, but I've been realizing something lately for a lot of us. A lot of entrepreneurs are building their businesses in places that they don't own. It's often called building your house on rented land. And we really don't understand how risky that can be until something breaks. And so later in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about what just happened a couple of days ago to one of my friends who woke up with all of her Meta accounts gone, right? Overnight, completely disappeared, no explanation. So again, we're going to talk about this rented land thing that a lot of us are doing versus owner ground and what's happening right now with platforms and why entrepreneurship is such a blessing in times of crisis and what people need to be doing underneath all of this. All right. So, but like I said, before we get in too far, please like, subscribe, share with a friend in businesses so that they can benefit too. All right. So, here's one thing I think that we all need to pay attention to right now. There are a lot of platforms popping up, right? There are tools happening everywhere. Things are being housed in the cloud. Yes, you may have it in your Google Drive. You may have it on, in a OneDrive or hosted on YouTube or Vimeo or somewhere, right? But these tools are changing so fast. Their rules are changing fast. All of that's changing fast, and you're left at the whim of what they do. As excited as we are about AI, excited as we are about automations, platform features, all of that, it has value, but it means the ground under your visibility keeps shifting. And you may not know what's coming next. Let's say you have an automation running and you're giving something access to your YouTube or to your Instagram or something like that. Two things can happen. It can violate a rule that messes you up and sends you into oblivion and the platform deplatforms you, or somehow an automation could be there that says, hey, delete everything, because remember, you oftentimes will give it that access. So yes, I want to tell you, please use the platform, but one of the things that you want to do even as you're building on these platforms is create relationships. Get the email addresses, get the phone numbers, get the ways to contact the people, but even more important than that, be consistently providing value. That's one of the reasons that I'm back, is because if ever you get deplatformed, if ever something goes wrong, if you've been consistently providing value to people, they're going to be looking for you. Where's that episode that you were supposed to drop? Where's those tips and tricks that you normally come with? Where's that value? They're going to be missing it, and they will not only, you don't even have to search them out. They will come and they will search you out. So I want to hear from you in the comments, whether you be on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're subscribed at. I want you to answer this question. What part of your business do you actually own right now? Do you own your email list? Have you downloaded it? Is it on a USB drive? Do you own your website? Do you own your community, or is it on Facebook? Sitting there where the algorithm can control what people can see. Drop that in the comments. I want to hear from you, all that kind of stuff, right? So now, before we move forward, I want to say 5 words. Best known beats best at. See, I heard the great Les Brown say this standing less than 5 feet away from me just a few months ago, and it stuck with me because a lot of you are listening are good. You're really good. You've got experience. You got receipts. You got the knowledge. You have all of the, you've been doing this for years, but you're still not known the way that you should be. And you know that you need a book to tell everybody how good you really are. And you keep saying you're going to write this book. That might be that missing piece. Now, that's why I've created what's called the Authority Experience. It's a 2-day intensive where you stop talking about your book and you finally finish it. I want you to go to www.theauthorityexperience.com to find out more. Now, let's keep going, because being known is powerful, but being protected, that matters too. So, what I want to say, this part I like to call Carl's Corner. Well, I do a little bit of ranting, a little bit of raving. I might get mad. I'm just gonna tell you, right? Because here's what I've been thinking. A lot of people think and they treat visibility like it's security. Because just because people can see you doesn't mean you're safe. You should know that by now. Just because you have a huge following doesn't mean that you're expendable. That's not leverage. Likes are not leverage. Follows, that's not fortitude, right? That's not ownership. Reach, that is not resilience built into your business, right? Now, it doesn't mean visibility and all those things don't matter. But I'm saying it cannot be the end all be all. It cannot be your currency, because again, rules can change. And if you've ever seen the show, what was that show that came on Netflix? It was called the Social Dilemma, right? It's built in to reward people for activity. It's built to reward you for the cathartic feeling of somebody pressing a button, right? But you need to recognize that the benefit really of your social media is the relationship that you develop, right? Don't focus so much on the likes as you do the connection. Not saying you shouldn't get likes, you shouldn't get follows, you shouldn't get reach, you shouldn't get all those things. But remember, bring the currency closer to you. Don't go for the currency that they give you. Create the currency that you want. And your currency should be the changes that you're making to people. And of course, the money that you actually make from them, and begin to provide that value. But again, as you provide that value, make sure, again, that you are safe. Number one, you know the rules and regulations of what's going on, right? Because you can have a very active page, but a very fragile business, because everything you do is platform dependent. If it's YouTube, some people make a lot of money off of YouTube because they go all the time. If YouTube decides, hey, we're spending too much money on our creators, we're going to dial that back. What happens to your revenue? Does it cut in half? Does it cut in a quarter? Is it still worth it to do? So bring people closer to you where you're able to provide that value one-to-one. I recommend everybody have an offer that goes beyond people just hearing your voice. As you see, I just had a read before this for my Authority Experience. I'm going to have one after this for the Young Entrepreneur Camp. Because why? Because it's not just about what I can say to people, it's about the way that I can change them. And you need to have an offer similar to that, right? So be honest. If you ever felt secure in your business just because your content was performing, I want you to drop that in the comments, but say how you're going to change it. Now, what are you going to do? What is that thing of value outside of just the content that you create that's going to give people value and give you that security in your business, right? So now I want to give you a play of the week, right? And again, this is me rebuilding this. So, though I know some of y'all out there, y'all great content creators, y'all are great critics. And, I appreciate any feedback you give me. You send me a DM, an email, say, hey, Carl, you can do this to improve. Maybe you change your background. Yes, I know. I'm working on all that type of stuff. But my main goal right now is just to come out here and give value, right? So my play of the week is own your ground. Because I want to know if Instagram, if TikTok, if YouTube, if Facebook, if any of those disappear tomorrow, how would people find you? If Facebook locked your page, how would you reach your audience? Right? If your ad count got restricted, what would still be working? I want you to ask yourself, do you have an email list? Do you have a website or a landing page that actually converts? Do you have a clear offer that people can buy without needing a social platform to guide them? Right? So the play of the week is don't overhaul your own business, just audit your ground. As you know, I was a systems auditor for 17 years. And so, one of the things that we used to do is look at the vulnerabilities in business. And one of the huge vulnerabilities that I see in a lot of businesses today is that so much of it is built on rented ground. right? Use the platform for reach, but build your platform or build your foundation off platform, if that makes sense. All right, cool. If this made you realize that you need more own ground, hey, I want you to drop own it in the comments, right? Now, this fits perfectly into what we were just talking about, right? Because um, as you're building, you're going through your business. Do you ever wish that you had a coach? Do you wish you could afford real help and wishing somebody could just tell you what to do next in your business? Now, I'll be honest, I'm a business coach, and working with me costs $2,000 a month individually, one on one. But I have built what I call the execution lab, right? For the entrepreneur who needs real coaching without the high ticket price tag. It comes with group community challenges every week, all that great stuff. And it's only $77 per month, where you get live weekly coaching, real-time direction, and a room built to help you turn your ideas into offers, marketing, sales systems, and momentum. So if you're interested, go to launchofcarl.com/lab and stop letting confusion cost you money. Now, let me get back to that story I mentioned earlier, because this is where it all got very, very real. So a very good friend of mine, actually, she's been a client. She's actually one of my entrepreneurship coaches. I help work with her nonprofit. Her name is Crystal Brooks. Has a wonderful program for young girls in school called Love You More. I'm asleep and I get a phone call early in the morning. Now, I remind you, 8:17 in the morning. It's early for me. And I'm like, hey, what's up? Wipe the coal out my eyes. Like, who the heck is this paging me? And she said, Carl, everything's gone. I'm like, what do you mean everything's gone? She tells me that she wakes up and Meta has removed every account that she has. Her personal account, her nonprofit account, her for-profit account, her child's account, all of these things, right? And if the crazy thing isn't that it happened, it's that she didn't know why it happened. They said there's no appeal, it's final. She talked to them, all of that. And that's the part that should wake every last one of you up. This is 10 years of her hard work gone. And she started from scratch. Now, of course, we're going to work with her. We got strategies to build it back up. I feel like this could be a blessing in disguise, silver lining, all that great stuff. But nobody wants this to actually happen to them, right? But the truth is, you're borrowing space. She did nothing wrong. I know her content. I know what she does. I see the stuff she posts every day. There is no violation of terms in this. Everything she does is way above board. She's one of the most integral people I've ever met in my life. Go look her up. LoveYouMoreInc.org. The work that she does in the community is amazing. She has, county councilmen showing up at her events, all that stuff. But that did not make her immune from that AI algorithm that shut her down overnight. And this is why I've been saying this entire episode, do not build your house on rented land. But here's the part I also want to say to you. This is why it's a blessing to be an entrepreneur in the time of crisis. And this is one of the most critical and crisis-filled times of our lives. At least that's what it looks like. It seems like what the news would tell you. Because things are going crazy. Gas prices fluctuate. We got wars and rumors of war. We got, so much market uncertainty, government shutdowns, TSA lines, furloughs, all of these things. Yes, they're real. But with every crisis, it's one thing I hear my coach Lamar Tyler say often, with every crisis, there is opportunity. And what I want you to understand is there's opportunity in every crisis. As I told her, when she called me, like I said, I said, don't worry about it. We're going to wake up. We're going to build this thing back up. And that's what we're going to do. But as an entrepreneur, part of our skill set is the art of the pivot. It's when you have less, you can be more agile. You can move, you can jump, you can pivot better. We know how to create options. We know how to rebuild. We know how to take every setback and turn it into strategy. So no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what happens, it's never hopeless because we control the strings of what we do. That's the best part about being an entrepreneur. Not the being able to wake up whatever time you want, not being able to make money however you want. It's actually the element of security that we have, that in the midst of a trial, we can figure out a way to triumph. that we're not handcuffed to a boss. We're not handcuffed to a system that doesn't allow us to go out and make our own money, which is one of the reasons why I encourage it to happen even with young people and kids, because a platform does not have to be your identity. A job does not have to be your identity. The way that the economy is going does not have to determine how your business goes. You get to do that. Yes, it may be hard, but it's a lot harder if you have nothing to turn to. Right. So you always want to have that going. Okay, cool. Now, my next segment is called Friends Don't Let Friends. I want to be a little, I kind of get a little jokey joke with this, but today's verse is very simple. And I know you already know what it is because we've been talking about it the whole time. And, it's very good. One of the reasons I started the Execution Lab is because I know how important it is for entrepreneurs to have community, because entrepreneurship is so alone. And one of the things that, I'm encouraging people in there to do is, it's very simple. Is to check one another. Like, hey, because friends don't let friends do certain things. And in this, our friends with businesses, we don't let friends build their whole business on rented land. We don't act like your Instagram page or your YouTube page or your TikTok shop is a retirement plan, because it's not. You're not going to put all your leads, all your audience, all your confidence inside an app that you do not own. Even those great, I use wonderful CRMs, all of that. But if you think that I don't download my Excel spreadsheets, my CSV, so that I can get to them, you're tripping. If you think I don't have multiple redundancy across my cloud accounts, you're tripping. Friends don't let friends. Friends don't let friends build their house on a rented land. So if you have a friend who has a huge YouTube following and they get those checks every month, love them enough to ask them, hey, have you asked them to sign up for something? Have you given them a free gift? Do you have a lead magnet? Not even to be able to sell them on something immediately, even though that's a good idea, but even so that they could have the opportunity to contact them if something goes wrong. There was a time when YouTube was deplatforming people left and right. And what happens if those people can't find you? Right? Cool. Now, if you know anybody that's building their business on Instagram, on Fumes, on Faith, send this to them right now. All right. Now, as I talk to you real quick, as I said before, I feel like being able to pivot at any time is very important. And it's really important that our young people know those skills. So if you're a parent of a middle school or high school student, I want you to hear this. Your team does not need another regular summer. The times are too critical for that. They need an experience that actually prepares them for the real world. And that's what we do at the Raising Founders Young Entrepreneur Camp. We've already served over 1,000 students, exposed them to entrepreneurship, leadership, and real world training. Now, this is a 3-week immersive experience where students move through the lab where they create ideas and learn how to think like problem solvers. Then we move them to the incubator where they build their brand, their message, and their confidence. And then the boardroom where they step up on pitch day to present what they've created to win cash prizes. Now, me and my coaches, we walk them step by step, give them exactly what they need to rise. And here's the key. There's only 20 spots available. We have hybrid options. We have family options. So please reach out. So if you've been looking for something that will actually move your team forward this summer, go to www.youngentrepreneur.camp.net. Again, that's www.youngentrepreneur.camp.net and reserve that spot today with a deposit. All right. Now, before I get out of here, I got to do this for you. Okay. Every week, I'm going to give you an entrepreneur dad joke. No, I'm not a dad, but I really like dad jokes, so I figure I'll do this. All right. So I want y'all to listen carefully. Listen to this one. Here's your entrepreneur dad joke of the week. I started consulting for a roofing company for small business owners. I'm helping them deal with a lot of overhead. Get it? Roofing, overhead? No? Oh, what do you know about funny? See? But I stayed on theme for the episode. That's called commitment to the bit. All right. So again, last but not least, I want to just let y'all know if one thing I want to leave y'all with is use the platforms. Absolutely. Do it 100%. I recommend it. But do not confuse rented land with home. Build something that you own. Build something that people can find, buy from, and connect with you, even if an app changes tomorrow. That's the one beautiful thing about entrepreneurship in the time of crisis. Crisis may shake the surface, but entrepreneurs know how to rebuild from the inside out. All right. Now, this episode hit home. Please share it with somebody. Make sure you subscribe, share it with another entrepreneur, drop a comment with the topic you want me to hit next. Please, please, please. And if you ever had a platform issue, a shutdown, a business lesson that forced you to rebuild, I definitely want to hear that too. All right. Now, this has been Friends with Businesses, where I talk business with my friends and you benefit. I catch y'all on the next one. Have a good one. Peace.